to the We Got You Mama show. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are in for a treat. I'd like you to meet my friend, Mary. Mary Gooden is an international speaker. She's an author and a mentor who supports women in living and leading from self-trust, self-love, and emotional alignment. I feel like I just need to do this while I don't know why, while we're talking. She's a mother of two young adult daughters, and Mary believes motherhood is one of life's most powerful invitations to come home to yourself. I think that's really beautiful. Through lived experience and heart-centered insight, she shares how a mother's relationship with herself becomes the foundation for emotionally grounded, loving children and a more connected family life. So let's just jump right into all the things. Thanks for coming. Did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything?
I don't think so, Carly. You nailed it. I'm just so grateful to be here. And just, you know, when you get onto these wonderful shows and you hear somebody read about who you are and what you know, your beliefs, and you embody it even more. You just settle into it. And I do. I believe motherhood is it is the biggest gift that I have ever received as a heart-beating, breathing human.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It is. It's like one of the most challenging things and most rewarding, beautiful things ever, right? So you talk about why did they choose me? So you think about that, right? So motherhood, you talk about this, a soul level invitation. You do a lot of soul work, right? To become the woman your children came here to learn from. I love that. They're here to learn from you, right? You're not here to, this is what I'm not here to be your best friend. I'm here to help you grow and love and be kind. And you're going to learn from me and you're going to listen. But you talk about this through presence, curiosity, and growth. So let's talk a little bit more about that and this theme around like coming home to yourself.
Coming home to myself. Well, I'll tell you the story. And it wasn't that long ago. I sat at a stoplight in Sedona. Maybe it was about 4.5 years ago, and very present in my life now. And I just closed my eyes, and I felt enlightened in that moment that I realized, oh my goodness, I carried 2 children in this miraculous body. Mm-hmm. Like, I know when I had my children, the thought never even crossed my mind in this way. I've never felt it so deep. And into that moment, I was sitting at that stoplight and I thought, you know, we are freaking miracles.
Yes.
And the fact that I grew life inside of me. And again, I'm turning 50 this year. We can all celebrate that too. I really had a moment, Carly, of wow. To think like, yes, we can think of all the challenges that maybe we could have gone through delivery, through some people learning, oh my God, I'm pregnant, through all kinds of conditioned beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I sat there that day and I was like, holy crap. Like, what a miracle it is to create a life inside of me. And the understanding. So I do a lot of conscious work, very connected to source, God, divine, however you want to choose to call it. And I believe that my children, these souls chose me, not really to learn from me per se, but because they wanted me, I'm an example of, so that I would show them what I wrote on my first book title, the back of the book, what else is possible. And if I can't step out of my smallness, if I can't get out of these preconditioned beliefs of what motherhood should look like or could look like, or you weren't there for this, but you didn't do this right. If I don't step out of those and understand my reality, that I came to show them something. And maybe some of you might be thinking, so are you saying that you can do no wrong? Essentially, if I am in my own authority, my own authenticity, and my own wholeness, I really don't do any wrong. I show them the example that they chose me to show them.
Right.
Now I can speak to that. So some of you, right? Why do you think they chose you, Mary? Well, what I know from my heart of hearts of why I'm here is to create loving and lasting change. And so they chose me to show them how to walk that out.
Yeah.
I have a story. I'll save it for a little bit later about
Okay.
just recently after booking this podcast, right? And almost thinking, what do I share here? Really, what
Hmm.
do I share here? How can I consciously help women, mothers?
Hmm.
Just take a moment. I want you to do that now. Just take a moment and put your hands on your heart and recognize that you created a life inside of you, something that lived off of you that you created. That's, I mean, to me, sometimes it's unheard of.
Right. You're
It's
like,
like,
how? But how? How
wow.
did becoming a mother change the relationship you had with yourself? Because I know there's a lot of losing yourself, finding yourself, getting, we hear a lot of, the terminology around lost in motherhood, or I lost myself, and how do I regain, this version of who I was, and sometimes we live a little bit in the past and trying to get back something that is no longer really, we're forever changed and for the better, I think. But I think as women, we beat ourselves up so often. How did that time period, and I know it's forever evolving, even having adult children, but how did becoming a mother change that relationship you had with yourself?
Well, aside from realizing that I am a miraculous human being because something lived inside of me, I knew that we go into this like, I want my children to experience something better than I had experienced,
Sure.
right? Show of hands, most of us like,
Yeah.
oh, I want them to have better than I had. And so I started that way. I was in the corporate climb. I was on the ladder of success. I was pushing, pressure, until I panicked.
Hmm.
And my children, I was a military wife, and so my first husband, he was out on the ocean. He was out to sea. He was in the Navy, and I had my first panic attack. And I was running a bath for my children. I had just fed them the delicious quesadillas that they loved. I was just trying to keep up with this lifestyle that I had created because I wanted their lifestyle to look better than mine did.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was in the overachiever for them, for me and for them. And once I panicked and realized, here are these, I think they might have been 5 and 7 at the time. I
Hmm.
didn't tell them, right? I kind of whizzed through the kitchen and I went to the neighbor's house and ended up calling 911, and the neighbor came and got them. And the neighbor's just telling them, oh, she got gum stuck to her leg. Like, just, I realized in that moment, like, what are you teaching them?
Yeah.
What are you really teaching them? You're teaching them to go after a life that what makes you panic?
Right.
And so along came a spider, or my 3 non-negotiables. It just
Hmm.
sounded like a fun rhyme, right? So I really heavily started practicing the 3 non-negotiables that I share in this book. Let it be easy, let it be fun. And started coming home to myself. I had
Yeah.
to come home to myself. My heart was beating erratically, would wake me up at 2 a.m. I left the hospital that day with enough Xanax to put down an elephant. And in the same realization, like, this is not my life. I can't raise 2 children as a very very loving marriage, but as a single parent most of the time,
Yeah.
from a place of fear and discomfort and wondering, when is it going to be a heart attack? So
Right.
I knew at that moment I had to make a change. And if I kept on, Carly, they would just end up with the same experience. Our children watch us, whether they want to or not, and sometimes they do completely opposite of what we want them to do, not because they want to be disobedient, because I think they have an inside knowing. And that inside knowing is, well, she really doesn't know what she's saying because she's not speaking from a whole self.
Sure. Yeah. They're just sponges. They're sponges their entire lives. You know what I mean? Like we talk about, oh, they're just such little sponges when they're little, picking up words and all the things. But no, they're sponges their entire lives. My teenager is soaking up just as much, now as she did when she was little. It just looks different, right? And then we start to see ourselves maybe in our children, and that could either do this, right? Or you can lean in and do this and really come together with them. I know I've had to work through a lot of different things with my 15-year-old in that sense.
It's
But
fun age.
Such a fun age. Yeah. It's, there's so many hormonal changes, so many friendship changes, they're kind of all over the place. But if they don't have an example, something grounding to come back to relay information, to, find some trust, like it can be really scary for them as well, and she's neurodivergent and highly sensitive, and that comes with just a lot. That's a whole other episode. But you talk about emotional regulation, and that's something I've leaned into a lot this last year about with my late ADHD diagnosis, and with my daughter having the same. We've been studying more and learning more about just emotional regulation in life, and it is such a key part of parenting, right? So share your wisdom with us a little bit more about that.
So the way that I regulate my emotions is basically my non-negotiable practices, grounding, right? The
Mm-hmm.
first thing I do before I get up, it's not who needs what or how they need it or what do I have to do. It started with a show me the way today, right? Show me the way. I know that consciousness is here to support me instead of me having to support me and all the kids, right? I know consciousness is here to support me. So I connect with myself. It's the first thing that I do. Daily connection. Show me the way. Who am I? Sit down, ground in, great affirmations. I shared those in another book and in an affirmation deck that I have now. And I
Can we
started
say
doing that.
not pick up your phone first? Do not pick
Yeah,
up your
no
phone.
phone. Gosh, I don't even look at my
Mhm.
phone until
And
I don't
so
even
many
know.
of us do. It's the first thing. And it's like, and now let's start our day off like that.
And then, especially if you're doing that and then you're telling your children not to.
Right. Yeah.
You have to be, you're really the example of, they chose you to be the example of, and you have to practice what you preach before they're going to practice what you preach. And they're going to see the falsehood in it too. They're going to feel a frequency, right? If we can all agree on one thing, it's all a frequency. And so when I was pumping it, when I was pushing it, when I was not emotionally regulated, guess who else wasn't emotionally regulated? Guess who was throwing tantrums? Guess who I was having to yell at every day? This is why it's so important. Can you give yourself, you are the beholder. You are the creator of this life. It was in your belly. Okay. So I'm speaking to the moms that actually delivered. And so let's just stay with that, because I know that people say, well, I'm a stepmom, whatever. So
Sure.
you created this. And you created it from the frequency, perhaps that where you were when you were pregnant. What was life like when you were pregnant? So you can kind of witness and get a good idea of what frequencies they're carrying based on where you were and what frequencies you were in. What emotional regulation did you have when you were pregnant? What was going on then? But outside of that, that's what I wasn't frustrated. I can't say that I was ever really frustrated at my children. I was frustrated, which would leak out to my children. And then they would, I believe they are forever corded to me. And so whatever I'm going through, you bet your sweet pair of pants, they're going to go through it. So if I wanted something of them to change, guess who got to change? Me, I call it a me first movement. It is not selfish. It is not even selfless, friends. I call this being soulful. I call this like I need to be the soul that I came here to be, the soul that they chose. And so that's what I did. Every morning I would get up, I would sit. Now, mind you, I had started with the panic attack. So it really was like, you do this now. And so even when I would sit, I would get heart pain. I'd feel anxious, but I just kept doing it. And the second step was movement, because I could probably claim A through Z. So after I would sit and I would connect and I would ground, just saying nice things to myself, even if it was only 30 seconds, right? I made the change. Instead of getting up, what do I have to do today? Who do I have to feed? I would pause. I would connect to me. Then I'd go out and do the movement things. Even if I just do 60 seconds of shaking in my prayer closet, I would shake my body. And then I would go celebrate something. After those two things, I walked out a happier person. They could see it. Now, they could see it. So I'm just going to fast forward. We ended up going through a divorce after a 25-year marriage. They were 8 and 12 at the time. And Only one time did one of my daughters throw something at me and said, well, it's no wonder that Dad. And I looked at that child and I said, do you want me to tell you what happened between your father and I? Because in some sense they wanted to put blame on me because I was the mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what they were saying is I was managing everything. I was the cruise director.
Yeah.
And so when I asked her that at age 12, and she said no. So I've never told them what happened. But they don't haven't had any concerns. Now they're 22 and 19, but I haven't watched them go through any real defeat because I never talked about it. I never made anybody feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. I'm getting choked up. Pardon me. And to this day, like they don't seem affected by it. Now, evolution is a real thing, so things could change.
Yeah.
I just got a little nugget in here.
Fine.
Tears to my eyes. But emotional regulation, me today, 15 years later, it's my number one. Sit with yourself, connect, get some movement in, create a space for whatever you heard, whatever you connected with to actually land in your body. This is a frequency, right? This is a body. And then by the time you get up, you're ready to share with somebody. Do you know what I just thought? Do you know what I just felt? Do you know how expansive I feel?
Yeah.
And I wrote about it. I don't know that they've read. Both of my girls have a copy of this book. I just wrote that book in 2024. But I did write a chapter on what happened with my marriage, and I don't know that they've read it. But that became the thing. And so I would notice, I would pay attention instead of being bent out of shape because we became a blended family or I had to split custody. That was rough on me for a minute. Like, I've been with these children their whole life. What do you mean I have to share them?
Yeah.
I realized they got 4 parents. You know, so the way that I started seeing things, like now they've got double the love, because I remarried about 3 years later too. They have double the love. They have more people loving them. And their stepmother, she couldn't have her own children. So what a blessing. So like this is the frequency I took.
Yeah.
And so they felt it through the cords. They felt this regulated space.
Sure.
What a blessing. She now gets a chance to raise children.
Yeah.
So it just became a big celebration. Now, to sum up that emotional regulation, in my morning routine, I pull my 2 daughters in. We get with Jesus, Mary, and Saint Germain, like real deal. We are hearts of humanity. We hold the highest vibration of unconditional love within our body. And we came here as a team, the 3 of us, to create loving and lasting change. How do I know this? Because it's what I started hearing when I sat down and connected with myself.
Yeah.
So my daughter, Emily, who lives in California, and she works at Starbucks. Quick story. This is what I wanted to share with you after I said yes to the podcast. How do I know this stuff works? She calls me up. She gets an award. A woman sends, this is the 2nd or 3rd time somebody has sent a review or a compliment through corporate Starbucks. She gets down the chain. They give her a pin to put on her hat. But this woman, on the day that she knew this woman was going through chemo, you know, if you ever go to Starbucks and you've got a daughter like mine in there, they love their regulars, right? They take care of their people. They make great coffee when my daughter does. And so she wrote on her cup that day, like all these things. You're strong, you're loved, you're all this stuff, this whole list. I got a picture of it. And the woman got the cup and instantly sent this thing. And she said, what Emily didn't know is that was my last day of chemo.
Wow.
So my daughter's really intuitive because she's watched me be super intuitive.
Yeah.
So she called me the next day and she started crying. And she said, you know, Mom, I was asking Tyler, my fiance, what am I here for? I was just wondering a couple of days ago, I was asking him, what is my purpose? And after I've just went through this experience, Mom, I realized that I think my purpose is to just love people and smile at them and help them understand they're cared for. And I'm sitting here as a mother with a 22-year-old, like, Oh my God.
I did so great.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. This thing I hear in my daily connection, it's real. It's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. It's those of us that have been blessed enough to create life. It's the real deal. And the sooner, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean serve these children to your own demise. It
100%.
means come home to yourself.
Yeah. What
Heal
would you
yourself.
say? What would you say to a mom that's like, I don't even know how to get there anymore, that they're so disconnected from themselves that they are, lost in a sense. I mean, we hear about the overwhelm, you're right, that women are facing.
You're either going to
The
love the answer or you're going to hate it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. This is my walk. I lived in fear of panic. So one day I just had to change that and I had to repeat it. This is a daily gig, y'all. This
Yes.
isn't a one
There's
and
no
done.
overnight fix. There's no like it's constant work on yourself.
So
Yeah, we get to do that.
I love you, I love all of you, but if I'm going to wake up every day and say, I have ADHD, I have this, guess what I'm going to have the rest of my life? It's not until I say, thank you, that I don't have anymore. Thank you for the clarity. And that's what I'm talking about, the daily connection. And it becomes a 30-second practice. And then I just started paying attention. Yeah, how quickly do I go back to my old ways?
Mm-hmm.
And when I started measuring that, then I would realize, I'm staying in the positive. I'm staying in the good. I'm staying in it.
Right.
I wrote on my mirror, and I'm serious. That's why I wrote my first affirmation book. I had to drill it in me because guess what, y'all? It's no different than the thing you're drilling in you right now. There is no separation between that. I'm either telling myself I'm good or I'm telling myself I'm bad. And get a good mentor that's going to help you stay on track with that. Sorry.
Right. Don't expect to do it by yourself. Yeah. We are not meant to do things by ourselves.
Surround yourself with women who are willing to go to that step. Seek them. But it's a daily thing. And I did it in the morning. It was a daily thing. And sometimes daily. Can I share? Can I just share the way that I use Archangel Michael every day? Every day I do this. Okay. And that day I call upon Archangel Michael. Thank you for dissolving anxiety, fear, doubt, anger, bitterness, wrath, guilt, shame, and illusion. Thank you for cutting all cords, binds, chains, negative imprints, old karmic ties, expired soul contracts across all timelines and all lifetimes. I thank Source for it. I thank God for it. I don't say, I wish I even moved beyond the I am statement. Thank you for.
Yeah.
Every day, it's my first morning. It's not, oh my God, what's going on? Who needs me? It's thank you for. And then I step in. It's radically changed my life. It has changed the life of my children. Still to this day, they just are so empowered in themselves. And with Kristen, my youngest, who was 15 when I started traveling all the time and doing the thing, and she moved in with her dad full time because mom was in Arizona, because Sedona, my soul was calling, like, come to Sedona, bring women here, do the self-love, do the self-trust, show them they're capable. All the while, my daughter was like, you're never home. Like, I had to go through this impact too. And I looked at her one day and I said, you know why I do this? It's because you chose me to show you what was possible.
Yeah.
And when I send her pictures, this 19-year-old, even when she was 16, I would send her pictures in Montana or Sedona. And this kid would text back, Mama, you're so beautiful. Like, this kid sees me.
Mm-hmm.
And I only get this. Let me land this plane real quick. Because I decided not to worry so much about what they were doing and what I needed to tell them, or how they were doing it the way I thought they should or how I thought they shouldn't. What I did is I tuned into me.
Mhm.
and I started walking my walk. I practiced being me, coming home to me, because I knew they chose me. They didn't choose the facade of me. They didn't choose the idea of me. So my daily connection, me, became my priority. And in that, I have watched for the last 10 years how they prioritize themselves
Right. And
and,
trust themselves,
and
right? How
trust
they see you
themselves.
walk with trusting you, trusting your instinct. You know, sometimes my kids will be like, "Are you psychic?" And I'm like, "No, I know myself and I trust my instincts, and I trust my instincts are right when they are regarding them, right? In their
Mhm.
past or some decisions or how I'm guiding them or how they're, like you say, learning from me. And it teaches them to do the same. Like, well, okay, I'm not going to answer this for you, but what's your inspiration? What's your gut telling you? What are your instincts telling you? And man, if you can teach them from an early age to trust that, it's huge.
And
So
the easiest thing is to just trust yourself.
yourself. Yeah. Show
It's
them. Yeah.
not, there's no magic in it aside from doing your own work.
Yeah.
Doing,
Getting
yeah.
out of your own way, which is work. It is.
hmm hmm
Mhm.
And, to me, it's a blessing that I get. Again, it's a blessing that I have a breath in my body. It has come so far to me. And if you ever meet me, you'll feel all of this. Like, I am just the happiest thing to be alive. I think that even with all the things that we are seeing in humanity, even with all
Sure.
the programs that are being thrown in our face, I'm
Sure.
on the program that really does say, no, I'm a blessing. This
Yeah.
experience is a gift. And I'm going to walk that out, regardless of what's happening in this corner, in this corner, in this corner. Because right, we're all different. And I'm in the different place where may I be a blessing, may I see a blessing, and may I share a blessing.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we were all in that space of, practicing those three things?
Mm-hmm.
I think we would be so much happier. I think we would be so much more connected, right?
And what is the secret, right? It's a daily choosing. So
Right.
maybe write that on your mirror today. I had little notes in my car, little post-it notes
Hmm.
with just affirmations that would come through because I would sit with myself. Because I'll be honest, the first 38 years of my life, the last thing I wanted to do was sit with myself.
Right. Right.
Right?
You're like, no, thank you.
I hate for people to wait until you have a panic attack. And so
Right.
that's what I stand for. Like, we don't have to wait until our heart chakra says, hey, sister,
Yeah.
this is your life. And it's
Right.
certainly the life that they chose
Right.
you for. Yeah. Yeah. It's a
My
daily
daughter,
practice.
it is
Yeah.
a daily
It's
practice.
magic.
And like you said, you have a lot of those things memorized now. So like until then, write them on your mirror, purchase Mary's stack of affirmations, you know what I mean? Have those up. My daughter has a ton of pink sticky notes up on her mirror that she wrote herself, about herself, about who she is, about who she really is, because she recognized from a very young age, she had a very negative Nancy self-talk in her head. And so ways to combat that was just constantly reminding her of the truth, right? And sometimes some of us are very visual people. We need those visual reminders of what is true when your mind is feeding you negative things. Let's counteract that,
Mhm.
which I think is really important. I mean, we can all benefit from feeding ourselves all the gratitude, all the positive things, like you said, because there's so many things going on in so many corners. There's enough negativity out there, and we don't need to join in on the negativity. We need to be. I was listening. I was on a call. It was like with 8,000 other women, and it was some of the greatest quotes on there was, you don't need to be the loudest advocate or whatever for whatever thing, whatever purpose. You need to take care of yourself. And it's right back to like what you're saying, like come home to yourself, be good to yourself. Can you be healthy? Can you be strong? Can you love yourself? And then how much that will benefit those around you, right? And you
Mhm.
can then love others better and serve others better. Again, bless others better. And I think that's so true. Sometimes we feel like there's so much to be done. Like, what can I do? Where can I volunteer? What can, how can I? It's like, bring it home, sister. bring it home to you. And that is how you serve the world, by really being healthy with yourself, right? Coming home to yourself, and then your capacity can only grow to influence, being that example to those around you, your kids, family, right? We build up those families, and then those families go out in the world, and our Starbucks baristas and are blessing other people's life because they're intuitive and they're present. You know what I mean? It's like it changes the world. And I think we forget how it's hard work, but it's those simple things compacted, right? Change yourself.
Instead of hard work, it's a daily choice. Yeah. It's a daily choice, and I just keep choosing until something shifts. But I don't know who the quote is from, but it is somebody else's. But I dare you. I dare you to really anchor in to being the change you wish to see. Don't worry about what's going on in the world. Be the change that you want to see. Be that, because at the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, if you don't love yourself, do you even really know what love is? Are you really even giving love? It's just a word you're saying. It's not
it's true. There's a quote I have on my fridge that says, love yourself so much that when others look at you, they will know how it's done, which I really love.
Chills. Yeah, I love that too. That part. Thank you.
Yeah. It's so important. It's so important. Oh my goodness, I could chat with you all day about all the things, but we're going to wrap up. And my goodness, you can reach out to Mary. All the things are going to be in the show notes. She has a free little gift for you guys. So click on that link, how to 10x your impact. Check that out. You guys buy her book. It's amazing. And don't forget, let it be easy. Remind me the title again. It's Let It Be Easy.
Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Unleash your.
Let it be simple. Let it be fun. Let it be easy. Yep. Let it come back to yourselves, Mama.
Right.
So thank you, Mary. I love you so much. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for inspiring us mamas to really get back to ourselves, and how vitally important that is for ourselves initially, and also for our families and our littles. We are all blessings, and you're a blessing, Mary. Thank you for blessing my life. And I can't wait to hug you in person very shortly. And if this episode resonates with you and you think it would resonate with someone else, you find that maybe someone needs this in their life, go ahead and share it. That would be great. Just share it. It's a free share. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.